Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is your ultimate guide to Shattered Vale, including everything you need to know about the map to take you from beginner to pro. In the spawn, you'll find the Rampage Inducer as always, as well as a fast teleporter that you can use once the rest of the map is open. There's also a Gobblegum machine, one of the Ether Field Generator traps, just like on Liberty Falls, and there are these maps dotted around which show you the overall layout, but you can also just pull up your TAC map to see the map at any time. While you're in the spawn, you'll also see a white Project Janus box, and we're going to come back to those later. For now though, just destroy it and it'll give you a bit of salvage or maybe a vermin to kill. If you're looking for the new double tap perk machine, that can be found on the rear patio just back here. And I really recommend you remember to enable the research for your double tap augments before you start playing, so you don't waste any XP and you start getting those augments unlocked nice and quickly. So you'll start exploring the map and you'll quickly realize that you need to get Pack-a-Punch open via the orange prompts as usual. For this, you need two parts. The first you'll get from killing this guy in the library, and then the second requires you to destroy Richtofan's machine on the other side of the mansion. And once you do that, it'll drop a part, and then you can go back to the top of the elevator and fix those parts into the wiring in the back of the elevator, and then press the elevator button a few times. Zombies will jump out and scare you. You can take them out, and then you can call the elevator down, and the rappel will appear, allowing you to get down there and get back up again any time in your game. That's also where you'll meet the Sam AI, and she actually talks to you a little bit if you shoot her with the Ray Gun Mark II, which we'll be getting later in this video. Now, just to kind of continue our map tour here, if you continue through this underground section of the service tunnel, that's where you'll find that fast travel teleporter that I mentioned at the start of the video, and that will be opened up now. And there's also an armory over there which will work the same way as the Terminus and Liberty Falls keys. So you get a key from a boss, you bring it into the armory, and then you use it on a locker to get some free goodies. Now, before we talk about some of the Easter eggs and ray guns and all that crazy stuff, let's keep going through a couple of the new additions to this map. Number one is toxic zombie rounds. So these guys are going to explode when they die, and that explosion is going to hurt. So you're going to want to stay away from them, and also watch out for the gas that these guys are going to leave behind, because that's going to damage you as well. The nice thing though is that the rounds go really fast. Like, they're a little bit quicker than vermin or parasite rounds. And if you really need help taking them down for some reason, they are weak to the Shadow Rift ammo mod, but you're just not going to really need it in my opinion. Now, once you start getting through some of the rounds here, around 15, 16, you're going to get an Elder Disciple spawning in for the first time, which is a new enemy type in Shattered Vale. The longer the Elder Disciple's left alive, the more enemy types it will spawn in, and it's going to spawn in a bunch of vermin and parasites. And then those vermin and parasites are going to evolve into doppelgasts. And eventually, that's going to develop into an amalgam if you leave it alive. So you need to take down the Elder Disciple to stop this evolutionary chain reaction in its tracks. The best way to do this is to use the Dead Wire ammo mod or the Lightmend ammo mod and shoot its weak spot on its head once you destroy its head armor. And the good news also is that once you take out the Elder Disciple, all the zombies that it has control over will also be eliminated, so it will kind of wave clear a big group of zombies in front of you just from killing the Elder Disciple itself. In the later rounds, you're going to get multiple of these per round, so be very wary when they spawn in. Keep an eye out for the little blue glow that indicates that there's one nearby, and take them out ASAP. So, what might make your life a little easier in taking them out? Well, we can use traps, right? And I mentioned the Ether Field trap in the spawn, but there's some new traps in this map as well, such as this microwave trap. So zombies that walk in the AoE for this will basically insta-die, and it's pretty cheap as well. It only costs 750, but you can also damage yourself with this. So be wary and just use it when you're in a pinch and you know that you're going to be safe. There's multiple locations for it as well. So it's in the East Foyer, the Conservatory, and the Nursery. But what if that's not enough? Right? Well, maybe you want the new wonder weapon, or sort of new, the Ray Gun Mark II. So let's explain how you get that for free now, and then we'll explain how to turn it into all of its elemental upgrades. So we're going to work on getting the Ray Gun Mark II next. Like I said, if you've got the Wonder Bar Gobblegum, that gives you a 1 in 3 chance to get it out of the box, and multiple people in your game can have the Ray Gun Mark II as well, so it doesn't matter if someone else has already pulled it from the box, you can still get it. And it will also show up randomly in the box. You don't have to have the Wonder Bar Gobblegum, but the likelihood of you seeing it will increase the later in your game that you spin the box. But aside from that, here's a guaranteed way to get the Ray Gun Mark II for free. To start with, you need to be at round 10 or above, and you then need to go down the elevator into the mainframe chamber where the big Sam AI is, and you need to look out for a lab technician zombie. And this zombie will drop you a floppy disk when you kill it. And there's a chance that if you've already got a nuke, for example, that might have already killed it. So you might need to look around the floor of the mainframe chamber, and generally all all around the floor of that underground. And once you kill that zombie and pick up the floppy, you can then go back up the elevator, and you need to bring it to this room here. It's on the right-hand side if you're facing the T-Rex, and in the corner of the room, there is a computer that you can enter the floppy disk into. So hold square on that computer. When you do so, a bunch of zombies and parasites and bugs are going to spawn in. So take all of them out and then go back to the computer, and just to the left of it, there is a fax machine, and you can hold square on it, and there'll be a pop-up on your screen with a little message. And in that message, there'll be a capitalized word like moth or yeti or things like that. And you just need to take a mental note of what that word is in your game. And then you need to go to the child's bedroom with the little chalkboard in it. And I'm going to run there now so you can see where that is. Once we get there, we're going to be translating the word that we had in all caps into numbers. And it's very simple how we do this. Let's say your word is Yeti. You're going to find the letter Y on the chalkboard, and you're going to see how many other letters it's nearby. So in my case, the Y is in a cluster of 5 letters. And so my first number is 5. Then we're going to move on to the E in Yeti, and you can see that that's in a cluster of 4 letters. So my number is 4. The T is in a cluster of 8 letters. So my number is an 8. And then the I of Yeti is in a cluster of 2, so my final number is 2, but it will be different in your game, and like I said, you might have moth, for example, instead of Yeti. So once you've got that, go back down the elevator, walk up to this doppelgast in a little sealed chamber, and hold square on this keypad, and then enter your 4-digit code. That will open up the chamber, and you can kill the doppelgast inside, and that will then drop a severed arm, which you can pick up, and you'll then want to follow where I'm running in the gameplay here to the armory, which is also in the underground. Enter the armory, and then walk up to the ray gun Mark II that's on the wall here, and on the right-hand side, you can hold square to attach the severed arm to the fingerprint scanner, and that will then reveal the Mark II on the wall for you to be able to pick up for free. So that's the ray gun Mark II built. Then go to where double tap is, and in the little window behind double tap, if you throw the Casimir down in front of the window, it will suck a canister in, and then when the Casimir goes away, you'll be able to pick the canister up. Come to Shem's Henge, which is outside, kind of near the spawn area, and place the canister inside this yellow box. And once you do that, it's going to spawn in a couple of abominations down in the henge area just below these steps. You need these abominations to zap the 3 small rocks in this area, not the big rocks, but just all of the small rocks. And when each one gets zapped, it will start glowing blue, and then you need the abominations to charge into the glowing blue rocks, and that will cause them to float into the air. So once you've got them all glowing, and then you've got them all floated into the air, the abominations will die, and it will start a little defense where you'll have to protect the center area from vermin spawning in. And after you've taken out enough vermin and enough time has passed, you'll complete the step, and the canister, which we originally placed in that yellow box, will be retrievable, and it will be charged up now as an explosive canister. So with that canister picked up, you need to go back down the elevator, or you can take the fast travel from the spawn, and you need to come to this crafting bench and hold square on it, and that will place the canister inside. And then when you're holding your regular base version of the ray gun Mark II, you can hold square on the bench again, and that will craft it into the blue version of the Mark II. So that's 1 out of 3. For the second canister, we're going to need tomahawks. So pick up some of those from a crafting bench or from the ones you can find in various areas just around the map on the floor and things like that. And then head down to the mainframe chamber and take a look at this tube just here. To the side of it, you should see a letter on the wall, and you need to make a note of whether it says A or B. Then run through to this part of the underground, and on the left, you'll see an A and a B on the wall and some pipes with gas coming out of them. And you can turn the gas on or off at a given one of those red wheels by hitting it with a tomahawk. What we want to do is we want to turn on the gas to make it flow to the letter that you've got in your game. So if your letter's A, you're going to turn on the leftmost wheel, the middle wheel, and then turn on the A, but make sure B is turned off. Or if you've got B, turn on the leftmost, turn on the middle, and then only turn on B and turn off A. You have to throw your tomahawks very precisely to get the wheels to turn, but once you've successfully turned on the 3 valves that you need to get gas to flow to your letter, you'll get an audio quote from Sam, and you'll then be able to go back to the mainframe chamber where Sam is and use an explosive like a Semtex on the front of the canister now that it's filled with gas to blow it open, and you'll be able to pick up a canister from inside by holding square. With that canister grabbed, we're going to start working on the next elemental ray gun, which is the purple shotgun ray gun. And for this, we need to rely on a little bit of RNG because you need to open up all of these white boxes around the map. And one of them is going to contain a bomb that you need to pick up. There are tons of locations of these things, so I'll show you a load of them now. The first white box spawn we're going to take a look at is in the armory. You can see it just on the left-hand side there. Then when you pop back out of the armory, opposite this little camper van looking thing, there is another white box just here. Then in the other room in the service tunnel, you can find another white box in the corner. Then once you go back upstairs, if you go to the southwest balcony, you can find a white box just here. Inside the building, if you go to the west hallway, there's another white box just here. And then going through there and down to the outside west balcony, you can see a white box just here. Then on the east side, if we go to the T-Rex room, you can see a white box just here. There can also be a spawn just here on the floor. And I think there's a couple of others in there. Then out the front of the grand foyer in the motor court, you can find some on the right-hand side just here. And then also on the left-hand side, on this far side, you can see I've got my spawn there. And that's where I actually got my essence bomb. In the Shem's Henge area, there's a white box just here. And there's another spawn you can get just here by this lion statue. And another one actually by the portal as well. Then if you go back to the conservatory, there's one in the base of the conservatory. And there can be another spawn up here as well on the right-hand side. Now, like I said, this is a non-exhaustive list of spawns because there are so many of these. But I'll put some more spawns in the description for you guys if you get stuck or you just can't find them while running around the map looking for them. Once you've picked up the bomb, there are two other parts we need to grab. Both of these can be found in fountains. The first is near the spawn area. You're going to then go to the conservatory and just out the back, quite near to Quick Revive, you can hold square here to get your first reflector. And the second one is just here. As you can see, there is another fountain of the same kind of design. You can hold square on it and get your second reflector. So once you've got two reflectors and you've got your bomb, then go back downstairs to the underground and on this wall of rubbly stuff here, hold square, that will place the bomb and it will blow open a tunnel inside. Then go through the tunnel, across the room and place your canister in the machine. That will cause lasers to spawn in from the ceiling. Then do a 180 and place one of your reflectors on this metal podium just here. And your second reflector just down here, and that's going to reflect the beam across the room into one of these doppelgast statues. You then just need to melee the crystal that the beam is coming out from, and that will cause the doppelgast to turn into a real doppelgast, and you need to kill it, and that is your first doppelgast soul collected. Next, you're going to melee this reflector just here, next to where the beam is coming from, and the reflector on the other side of the room we're actually going to pick up, and we're going to run up this slope here on the left-hand side and place that reflector down at the top. We're then going to melee it, and as you can see, that is going to reflect the beam again into another doppelgast statue. So go and melee the source crystal, and that'll spawn in the doppel, kill the doppel, and that's soul number 2. Then go back to the reflector that's on the ground floor and melee that one more time, and it will reflect into a third doppelgast statue. Same deal, melee the source crystal, it will spawn in a doppel, but this time it will be an elite doppel, so it will be harder to kill, so bring your teammates in if they're around. And then once you kill it, that is your third soul collected, and you can pick up your charged canister from the other side of the room. And that one needs to go to the crafting bench in the director's quarters area. So hold square, that'll put the canister in, and then hold square again with your base ray gun or any other ray gun, and that'll convert it into a purple ray gun. Next, we need one more canister. To get this, you don't actually have to use an elemental ray gun. You can just use a regular ray gun Mark II, but it will not work with a ray gun Mark I, like a normal ray gun. It has to be a ray gun Mark II, and you're going to use it to shoot these big blue crystally water pouchy looking things. There are 4 of them total, and you might get lucky and you might get your canister from like the second one you shoot or the third one, but I'm going to show you all 4 spawns now. So the first one is just here. It's quite near Quick Revive in the kind of conservatory area, and you'll see it in the roof, so shoot that with the Mark II. Then the second one, you're going to go into the mansion, you're going to take a left here, and then you'll see it outside up on the wall, so shoot that, that's spawn number 2. The third is if you go in the mansion and then go to the right, you'll see it kind of up this staircase here, so shoot that, that's number 3. And then the fourth one is going to be down the elevator in the service tunnel underground area, and you'll see it high up there, shoot that, that's going to be spawn number 4, and one of those 4 will give you your next canister. In order to charge the canister, we first need to get ourselves 4 seeds from 4 plants that we need to blow up with explosive damage. And so that could be Semtexes, like I recommended you spawn in with at the start of the video, or that could be you using the Ray Gun Mark II on them, because that's explosive damage as well. But you will have to use the base version of the Mark II. You can't use the elemental versions here. There are a ton of plant spawns. I'm going to show you as many as I possibly can now. So for the first one, we're going to be in Shem's Henge, and it's towards the back area by this ledge, or it's maybe also to the right by the tree. It can be around there. The next is going to be near Quick Revive. It's going to be on one of the sides of the fountain just there. Then spawn number 3 is on this side of the bridge, and there's also another spawn on the other side of the bridge. That's spawn number 4. Then if we go back to the top of the conservatory here, on the left-hand side by these bushes, you can find a 5th potential spawn. Also on the right-hand side of this area, you can find one towards this kind of corner or towards these bushes. Then if you go through the mansion to the southwest balcony, there can be one out here, or another can be inside here on this table. Then another spawn is back here on this little tree well, and then another one is behind Double Tap in this corner, just kind of hidden away. So like I said, you're only going to get 4 of the spawns, and they're usually going to spawn near a kind of grassy area or something along those lines. After all, they are plants, but if you can't find them still, then check the description and I'll have some extra spawn spots in there. So destroy all 4 plants that you have in your game, and each one will drop a seed, so pick those up. And then when you've got 4 seeds and you've got the canister that we grabbed a minute ago, run to the conservatory and place the canister into this machine here. Then go up to one of these rectangular incubators and plant one of your seeds. It will start off small and you need to defend it while it grows over time. So take out all the zombies that are going to try and attack it, and then when the seed pops up and gets bigger, you can move on to the next machine. So that was our first machine. Let's move on to our second here. Plant your seed, defend it, wait for it to grow, take out the zombies as they attack you. I usually use explosives here. That seems to be the most consistent for me because it's quite a tight area, so Semtex and stuff is great. Your third seed machine is going to be just here, so defend it, wait for it to get big, and then your 4th seed machine is going to be just here, defend it again, wait for it to get big, and with all of them done, you'll have completed this step and you'll be able to go back over to your canister machine and pick up the charged canister. Now, if you fail any of the seeds, like if the machine takes damage, don't worry, because the seed will just plop out the front of the machine, and if you're quick, you can pick it back up again. And if you take too long, you might need to go find your plant again, but just be speedy and you'll be able to put it back in that machine again the next round to try again. But assuming you didn't fail, you can bring the charged canister to the crafting bench in the spawn and hold square on it, and that will put the canister in, and then you can hold square again to get the next Ray Gun Mark II, which is the marksman rifle yellow one. So let's talk quickly here about what they all do and how good they are, right? So I would say my favorite is probably the blue SMG ray gun, just because you feel really mobile while you're using it, and it's kind of a jack of all trades, whereas the others are a little bit more situational, just a teeny tiny bit. So that's the blue SMG. It's pretty standard. The purple one is a shotgun, and it's got a pretty wide burst when you don't ADS, but then when you do ADS, it's very tight, the spread, so it's pretty damn OP, I would say. It's just that if you're planning to use it for the boss fight, for example, on the map, I think that there's probably better options out there. So that's one area where it loses points, I would say, but it's still very good, and it's fun to use as a shotgun as well. And it also has an extra ability, which is that you'll shoot zombies with it, and sometimes it'll spawn in a purple glyph. And I think if you stand in that glyph, you're invincible, but it only lasts a few seconds. So it's pretty cool, but it's not gonna completely change the world, I don't think. And then the third one is the yellow upgrade, and that one's a marksman rifle. So you're gonna do crazy damage to the zombie that you're shooting with that individual shot, but it's got a very slow fire rate, and that's gonna, I think, inhibit your fun with it just a little bit. But if you like just plinking away and doing crazy damage, but pretty slowly, then maybe it's the gun for you. And the cool thing about that one is it also does create a kind of toxic puddle, and that's gonna kill entire hordes of zombies rather than just killing 1 or 2 at a time. So if you use it strategically, it's actually pretty great for wave clear as well. So those are the ray guns, but what about the Wunderwaffe? That's also back in this map, and that can be obtained in the mystery box, and you can upgrade it as well once you get it out of the mystery box. And the nice thing is if you use Wunderbar, are, you're either going to get the Ray Gun Mark II, the Ray Gun, or the Wunderwaffe. So you've got some pretty good options for if you are deciding to use a Wunderbar. So that was an Easter egg quest to get some free weapons. What about some free power-ups? Well, we'll run through a handful of these now. A free max ammo is next to this statue in the lower terrace, right next to the spawn. Free double points is if you look out to the west balcony area, up against this fallen tree trunk. This one's pretty far away, so it's a bit easier if you do have a sight on your weapon. For the free nuke power-up, it's on the white trailer with the blue tarpaulin in the service tunnel, and there are a few trailers down there, so just make sure you're shooting at the right one. The free full power is in the study through a small gap next to a computer, and you're probably going to need to prone and look up at the door frame here to get this one. For the free insta-kill, it's at the bottom of the elevator resting on a ledge as you look up. If you're looking towards Sam, it's going to be on your left-hand side. For the free bonus points, it's at the top of the east foyer stairs inside the barrier. And if free power-ups weren't enough, you can also get a free ether shroud, which is nice for the main quest Easter egg, which I've got a full guide for linked in the description and in the corner of the screen right now. But to make this work, I believe you have to have 0 ether shroud charge, and then you need to go into the mainframe chamber, which is where the Sam AI is, and you can hold square on this tiny little ether shroud field upgrade canister, and that will give you 1 charge. And I believe it will move around each round. So come back there later in your game and you might be able to find another one. Next, can't make a video like this without mentioning the music Easter egg. The first set of Mr. Peaks headphones that you need to find to activate this are underneath the stairs in the conservatory. You can find them just here. Then there's a second set of Mr. Peaks headphones. These ones are going to be on a kind of shelf full of radio equipment type stuff behind the elevator on the right-hand side. And then the third set of Mr. Peaks headphones that you need to hold square on is in the service tunnel on a cardboard box. So the service tunnel is underground. And once you've held square on all 3 of those in any order, you'll then have the Easter egg song play. And it's a pretty sick one as well. So let's say you've spun the box and you got the Wunderwaffe, or you used the Wunderbar just to get it a bit more easily. And you're wondering, how should I go about doing some high roundy stuff, or even just mid-round stuff? Like, how do I just get to a decent round? And I think the Wunderwaffe is amazing for this, especially in tight areas. So my team did a bunch of profit sharing, points building in this elevator here with the Wunderwaffe, and it was crushing. The zombies just couldn't do anything. It was amazing. So that, I think, is going to be a really effective strat for people on this map. And the nice thing as well is that there's just a lot of open areas in general, so you can really hoard up in a variety of spots, near a variety of traps, and they're all going to be viable for you. Also, a quick note on the story in this map. The Easter egg quest has some pretty crazy story revelations at the end. Like, it gets pretty nuts. So I would suggest you build those elemental ray guns, and then you build yourself like a chopper gunner or something, and you just do the rest of the Easter egg. It's nowhere near as hard as the tomb, and if you need a guide for it, I've got an extensive guide with basically all the part spawns shown in the video, linked on the screen right now. And alternatively, if you don't want to do the Easter egg, but you want to do some other side quests, then I've got an all side quests video also linked on screen. So click through to one of those, and I'll see you there.